Hello again, everyone. Hopefully you saw my first video from a little earlier today in which I talked about the need for light workers and star seeds and ground crew, particularly to make sure that you're taking that downtime, that quiet time, that rejuvenation time for yourself to recalibrate and let things transmute into a higher, upgraded, updated version, state of your consciousness and vibration. There's another topic here that I really want to talk with you about today, and which has to do with that I feel in the version of the ascension that I am now experiencing. We have leapt from what was going to be a pretty ugly, traumatic, horrendous, cataclysmic version of the ascension timeline to something much easier and gentler and higher. And so before I go on, I will ask you to stay till the end because I have a little something I want to share with you at the end of this as well. But let's get right. Oh, also, of course, if this video is useful, helpful, beneficial to you, please like, subscribe, share it. That'll make the video so much more visible to others, and actually it lets me know that you're getting benefit out of these videos, and I will continue to do them. Leaping to the higher timeline. I don't know if you all were aware of it, but right over the very end of December say 28th to around January 4th, I suddenly became energetically aware, and perhaps you did too, of we had been in this horrendous upheaval, chaos, drones, solar flares, fogs, weird different kinds of fogs, weird places all over the planet, flooding. What was it? The Sahara Desert flooded, got snow. Oh my gosh, what? And volcanic seismic eruptions and earthquakes in just weird places all over the planet. Just and the hurricanes that started, in the fall, and they were really bad, not just in Florida, but because other places actually also have experienced awful things. So, but all of a sudden, after that 4-day period, I felt that the choice, the split, had happened. Not that we're in it and we're making it. It was done. What does that mean? It means I evidently leapt to a timeline where it was done. And since you're watching me and listening to this, it probably means that for you too. You're listening, you're accepting this version to whatever extent of this timeline. So I felt that it was done. Not that other things wouldn't happen at all, but that the choice had been made, the split had started, and I will give you this. Bashar gives a wonderful explanation of how to think of the split. He said, here you are going along, that we're at the choice point where everyone's choosing what they're going to vibrate with, how things are going to be for them moving forward, what they want to be with moving forward. And those of us that are ascending choose the love, the cooperation, the support, everybody wins, abundance, that track. Think of it as train tracks. Other people who are not ready for that yet, and who cannot accept a world of cooperation and support, and everybody has abundance and everybody wins and has what they need, and we all support each other, and we're creative and we appreciate each other, all of those kinds of things where we value everyone. The people who aren't ready for that yet go off on we still want the war and the divisiveness, and we have to have empires, countries taking over other countries and dominating and winning over our enemies. And the tracks get wider and wider to where, while we're still close together, it's way easier to make the leap from one to the other because all the choices are there, kind of in one big energetic ball, idea ball, so to speak. But that as choices are made, the tracks start splitting off and getting wider and wider till it becomes less and less immediately accessible to make the switch. And so I like the way he put that because it's a good graphic. And anyway, at around the end of December, very early January, I felt, oh, the choice has been made. And then since then, and every day is an adventure. Every day I get up and I'm in meditation and I understand new things and have upgrades and updates and downloads and all of those things. So do you. Activations, whether you're aware of it consciously or not, every day. But anyway, probably about 4 or 5 days ago, maybe around the 12th-ish, and I couldn't tell you what was going on or is going on astrologically. I don't know. I just became aware of, we got through the hump. We've been through what was going to be the hardest part. Now, that's a big deal because we had been, at least that I perceived it, and I think many of us did, we had been on a timeline that was very, very full of trauma and cataclysm and horrible events and 3 days of darkness and solar flares doing we don't know what all, and floods, of course, and earthquakes, and in one version there's a rift in the Earth's crust in the Indian Ocean that spews toxic gases, and I mean there's just all kinds of these cataclysmic versions. Oh, and the false flag, alien invasion thing going to happen, Project Bluebeam, and I mean there's so many predictions and often conflicting, even amongst I'm not going to say supposedly guided. It's different channels of information, but conflicting predictions sometimes coming from channeled information. So, and as I said in the last video, you are the creator of your own timeline. You are the chooser of your timeline. You don't have to buy anybody else's timeline. You vibrate with how you create it, and then what you vibrate with will vibrate with others creating the same thing, and there you go. New version of the earth that you're vibrating in and experiencing. Anyway, and again, you're here with me. Yay! Because it feels like we've just decided that, and I mean on deepest energetic levels, and enough of us, we've just decided that those horrific events got the message. Don't need to keep relearning and relearning from the same old lessons. That's not to say that nothing crazy won't still happen. That's not to say that there won't be, for instance, the big solar flare that maybe knocks out power and internet to large swaths of the earth for a few days. Maybe even, maybe even for 14 days, maybe even a couple weeks. But a temporary knockout of power and internet, but maybe not for the entire planet, maybe just for large swaths, if that even happens. That would be like what's called a Carrington event. Something like that happened, I think it was in the late 1800s, where everything got knocked out and there was the electromagnetic field of the planet was so affected and so energized that wireless operators could still talk to each other around the world even though their power was turned off. They were just running on the power in the atmosphere. We could have a solar flare knock out our power and internet, at least in large swaths around the planet. We could have a volcano somewhere blow and it's put so much ash into the air that it kind of darkens the skies for a temporary period. That could happen. So I'm not saying nothing, and that there wouldn't be another flood or hurricane anywhere, but that the severity and the frequency that was gonna happen and be so like sort of biblically apocalyptic, it just doesn't feel like it's gonna be like that bad at all going forward. Like, yeah, everybody's already seeing where this is going, waking up and going, yeah, we get it, and we don't need that. There was in that version even the possibility of World War III, because the way we've had it, and it's trying to make a sort of a last-ditch effort here, but this lack, fear, power, control-based paradigm that certain world leaders, because they're the ones, certain world leaders are keep trying to sell the population about, well, we've got to take over this country or that country, or they're going to get it first, and we have to maintain dominance, and we have to win over this country. And of course, you have Xi Jinping trying to shove that down the throats of his people in China, telling them. I actually saw a clip of him saying, "Anybody who tries to hold us down, we will bash their heads against steel walls." And what? No one should be trying to hold anybody down. But there are world leaders that really live in that. Putin, Trump is right now talking about taking over Panama and Greenland instead of working with as partners, and everybody using the shipping lanes. And so anyway, I'm just saying the collective energetic stomach for that stuff feels like it's waned to me as I feel the energies. It's like if Trump tried to rally the troops to go attack Denmark and steal Greenland. I'm just not sure how many people show up for his party. The Chinese people are starting to not show up for Xi Jinping's party. More and more they protest and show open protest against his policies and what he's doing. Putin, I see the energy that was under him for Mother Russia taking over everything. It's kind of like gone hollow, almost like a house in Florida where a sinkhole happened and there's no ground underneath it anymore. So just saying, I think the way things were going to go, and sure could have in one version of the timeline, that we've chosen, and we have leapt to a way smoother, easier. We all know what we want. We know what we want to experience. We don't need it to look like the biblical apocalypse. Yes, the LA fires did just happen, and that was a symbol, amongst other things. I did another video on this, but it did symbolize a burning to the ground of old setups and systems and structures that are obsolete. Nobody even wants to be part of anymore. They just didn't even know how to get out of it. That's how it feels to me. So by accepting the new paradigm in which there is abundance, no one has to have power over anybody and compete for resources. If we all, pretty much all, realize that we are creators, we are powerful creators, we're the God consciousness, and that we get to create endless abundance, and for everybody to be able to have what they need and receive and allow what they need to come to them, and for more and more people to consciously recognize that. That's a whole other YouTuber lesson, by the way. There's nothing more important than realizing, yeah, you can manifest, learn how to manifest your pink Cadillac and your dream job. Great. What else can you think about manifesting? Powerful creator. A world in which we all know that and give ourselves what we need, where we all have enough food, where we all have the ability to take care of our actual needs, and what is authentic to our joy and our enjoyment. Different things for different people. So think about it. So in any case, this is just to let you know if you have been feeling this and doubting yourself, because there's not much to support it, I don't believe, out in the news media or online right now, but that we have flipped into a higher timeline. And by the way, if the solar flare comes and knocks out power and internet for a few days or 2 weeks, or a volcano blows and darkens our skies, we're fine. We will be fine. First of all, just living where I live in Florida, I always have some extra food and water so that, in case things are shut down and I can't get something I want, then I've got some. Okay, that's fine. It's not fear. It's just, I don't know, as Paul Selig's guides would say, prudence is not fear. It's like, just have a little bit extra around, just in case you can't get something for a few days. Beyond that, we're fine. The people, here's how it'll go. Take what helps and leave the rest if you don't like something I say. Those that cannot tolerate the idea of a world of cooperation and abundance, that whole new paradigm, a lot of those will use those events to leave the planet. They don't want to be on the version of the planet that we're on, so they do leave. Okay, it's by their choice, and they go on to inhabit a planet that does meet their expectations for division and competition and conflict and winning, losing, and dominating and all those things. By the way, when they leave, I've actually been through something like this, so I can speak more personally. When that happens, they may not choose to, what we think of as die in our terms. They may just go, oh man, I just went through, holy guacamole, what I just went through. And look, here I am, I survived, and yeah, here we are, and we're going to war with Denmark, or whatever it is. But in other words, to their perception, they didn't die, they just survived something, and they woke up in the world that they can handle and expect to be in and want to be in, at least for a while. Everybody ascends eventually. Other people that may be very awakened may choose to use those events to help them leave, maybe. Just because they feel like they've done what they came to do, they helped in the way they wanted to help while they wanted to be here, and now they're done. And so they use that event to leave. Okay. Others, I'm pretty sure, like myself and probably like you, others choose to be here as witnesses and anchors of the new way of being. Like, we can actually accept and inhabit a world where people are being kind to each other, where people are not jerks and disrespectful and hateful to each other, where people are actually being loving and supportive and look, oh, somehow we're all finding a way to make sure everybody has what they need. Oh, look how nicely things are going for all of us. Right, we stayed here to anchor it, and we anchor it by being it, by accepting that as a normal reality, which does, by the way, I need to say this because it's come up in the last couple of sort of events that I've done with clients and students. That can involve a conscious stepping over a threshold. You may actually realize that you are consciously agreeing to step out of the old lack-based competitive, compare, compete, win, lose, conflict, division. You're stepping out of that paradigm, and you are aware that you are stepping into and accepting as normal, the new normal, this new paradigm. And you've got the energetic wherewithal to do that. I'll almost use the word courage, because it's almost like stepping through the door of Narnia or something. You're literally agreeing to step into this different version of the world and say, yes, this shall be my new home and my new world, and I accept and I participate and accept in it this way. So anyway, we're here as witnesses and as anchors. And by the way, I do want to explain that word. We are anchors, but anchor doesn't just mean that connotation of boat anchor holding you down. Think of it this way. Anchoring in terms of, when people do technical climbing on rocks or ice, that the first person or people up put those, I don't know what the equipment is called, but they screw something in that actually holds the ropes and everything for the rest of the people to use to get to that point. So there's like a trailblazer and anchor there. We are anchoring, ushering in this new version of reality for ourselves and experiencing it, and for everyone that is on board with this cooperation abundance platform. And so we have leapt to another timeline in my experience, and because you've watched this through now, probably YouTube, you have permission. It's real. It's a thing. There was even, as always with synchronicities, I clicked on YouTube yesterday, and there was this person I've never seen before, never heard of, but this guy in a car, and he looked, like ball cap jacket, real, not didn't look whatever esoteric looks like. He didn't look like it. But anyway, he said, I think he even called it shout out to Starseeds. He's like, boy, dude, we just bypassed a really gnarly timeline. Yay! But he's right. And that was just such a synchronistic thing for me to see, because I've been so aware of, oh my golly, we just leapt up to a higher timeline, and we've been through really the worst of it. So whatever comes, know you're okay. Whatever comes, if there are changes in the financial system, if the power goes out, whatever it is, know that that's all part of it. You're fine. You're going to be fine. Know that. Trust that. Just to let you all know, I did record an attunement to your highest vibration. I've become quite a fan of the attunements given by Paul Selig's guides. And I've actually used those for the last year as a meditational ladder. And I can actually really attest to the fact that no matter how high your vibration is and no matter how much you understand, there's further to go, and these will just catapult you up into the next level and the next level as far as you'll let them. And so I will share at least the introduction to the attunements on YouTube. I may share the whole thing, or I may put part of it over on the Patreon channel, but free to everybody. I mean, accessible to anybody. So thanks for sticking with me this morning. I hope something I said helped, and I love you all. And I'm hearing beloveds, beloveds.